Okay, it's 9 o'clock. We'll start our meeting. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please keep your comments in 5 minutes. We're going to have Nancy tell us how Jim's doing first.
Okay, so I don't know if you all know, Jim has a GBS. It's called Guillain-Barré syndrome, and it's where your autoimmune system attacks your nervous system. And he was in Cedar Rapids for 37 days in ICU. He had a cardiac arrest through all that. That's because the nerve system that runs the heart was affected too. Now he just got moved from Cedar Rapids to Des Moines to a long-term acute care facility, and he'll be there for probably a month or two. And they're working on getting his trach out so that he can breathe on his own. And he's got a cap on his trach now, so he can talk, actually. So the nurses will turn on his phone and put it on loudspeaker and put it on his chest, and then we can talk a little bit. I'm not living down there anymore. I'm coming home a little bit. I come home like 2 or 3 days a week. And so he's getting there. It's hard. It's going to be a long shot. He has a suction hose that he holds on to, and he can hold on to that now, and he can kind of put it in his mouth. He might miss his face, or but he finally finds his mouth. And that's the fine motor skills, so he's got to work on that. His legs, he doesn't do anything with his legs yet. They just lay. But that will come, they said. It comes. It'll be the last thing that comes because it was the first thing that happened. I don't get that, but anyway. But anyway, I just want to thank you guys, all of you, for sending cards and comments and emails and text messages, and it's been great. And I've needed all your support, really, truly.
Is he getting a little bit of his sassiness back?
He is.
Yay.
He is.
Yay.
Yes. The nurse says, you're kind of, what'd she call him? I don't know, difficult or something.
Can you repeat what
that might be a reason why you're going to get better, So yeah. He likes to hear from the TCAT and the supervisors. I said, you want me to come back early in the morning today, or do you want me to hang out a little bit and come to the supervisor? Go to the supervisor's meeting, tell him hi. I said, okay. So hello from Jim.
Our thoughts and prayers are
yeah, thank you
and
very
family,
much.
and we wish him a speedy recovery.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have anything?
Yeah.
Is Kurt on today?
Pardon?
Is Kurt not?
Yes, he is sick today. Ill.
Good place for him to be home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He missed our party Friday for the employees and stuff because he was ill. And he texted me last night, and I told him, you just stay home and get better.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing.
Didn't see him at church either. So. Question, how many comments concerning the zoning ordinances did you guys receive by last week's deadline?
I haven't counted them. Have you, Bill?
I have not counted them,
Quite a
but
few.
And we did receive a few more that I have not been able to get onto your desk yet.
Okay.
So how many would you guess, Karen?
I didn't keep
30,
track.
40?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
And that's good. That's
yeah,
what we
we got a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How soon will you guys have time to look through them? And I know it's on the agenda as far as setting up some kind of a hearing. So how do you guys see your progression as far as the ordinance?
Well, as I get them, I get some of them on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I read them, and then I got some today, and I haven't read them yet, but I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I've taken some home and read them.
Mm-hmm.
Those I had in Wednesday, I took home and read, and then Dan told me Friday, he said, Bill, you got a bunch more. So these we haven't got to yet, but those will go home with me. We'll go through them.
Well, it's better than being ignored, right?
told you it would be different. This will be somewhat different than the wind turbine project, the Salt Creek project.
Then a regular ordinance progression through the zoning board and stuff like that.
Well,
You guys are taking charge of this?
We're working on that
Okay.
right now.
Yeah.
And that will probably be, well, I don't know. We'll have more information for you before the meeting.
Kind of on that track, on the agenda, it talks about setting a date for public hearing for the ordinance. Would that be just as a pre-hearing for the different types of stuff, or do you plan to have it actually written up and ready to approve by whatever hearing you're planning?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, Bill.
No, not yet. We need to go with it, get a hold of our lawyer and make sure we're doing everything right. So, but we're hoping to make it quick, if possible.
But we appreciate everyone's comments, because, that helps guide us in the direction of where everybody wants to be. I mean, it won't be 100% what everybody wants, but we'll try to get it somewhere.
I appreciate getting the letter myself and being able to turn.
I really liked yours, Richard. I liked your ideas of make it simple and not like a 40-page
Right.
ordinance. So anyway, thank you for doing that.
It's easier to defend a simple ordinance in court than a 40-page too. So.
Not being in court, I don't know that, but I'm sure it's true.
Yeah. Well,
Fewer loopholes.
I know Benton County has been sued over their ordinance using the CSR number, and they've never lost. So that's a good start.
That seems to be most everyone's opinion is to use some type of a number there for CSR. But then again, just my personal opinion, I've got a tough time telling people what they can and can't do on their farm. That's pretty tough. I don't want anybody to come to my farm and tell me what I should do, and I don't. But anyway, we'll work through this.
We appreciate you guys working on it too.
A lot of questions have come up as to where does it end then, from one ordinance to the next, like you talked about. Okay, so we're not gonna do wind or solar at the farm, but what if somebody, what could change your mind? I certainly don't wanna be telling my neighbor what they can or can't do. Okay, so you take out land and wanna build an airstrip or something, well, that's not farming it. You're gonna be told that you can't do that, or, all these things that come up. What you can and can't do on there. Maybe you just wanna make your yard bigger. Well, no, that's part of the farm ground. They're gonna tell you that you can't do that, or.
Well, it's kind of my concern too, Bob. You start going down this road of telling farmers what they should and shouldn't do. Today it's solar, maybe tomorrow it's hog houses. The next few years it's open feedlots. The next year it's too much dust in the fall. I mean, where does it end?
But all those things are ag-related. I mean, hogs or, that's all ag-related. Turbines and solar power are not ag-related. So, I understand usage as a farmer. I get it. You should be able to, but we're talking industrial. We're not talking farming practices.
Questions have come up too, like any farm structure. Somebody puts up a grain bin and then their neighbor starts complaining, well, I always got channel 8 before they put that up and now I can't, so whose fault is that? And then, so who's gonna be responsible for that? All these questions start coming up. Is that actually something caused by that, or is it something caused by something else? You get all these theories and stuff that come on Facebook and everything, so things have to be checked out. Is that actually a fact, or is it something else causing it? It's just a lot of times the coffee shop rumors get going, and everything's got to be gone over and make sure it is a fact. I don't know. are concerned about something, I don't know how many have actually called the power companies and voiced concerns or asked questions, or even, Mr. Kuchar out there, if anybody's called him and voiced their concerns or asked him any questions about it, I mean, that's all stuff a person can do. Everybody just needs to talk and communicate and figure it out.
Lenny, do you have something?
I myself have no problem with a farmer putting up a small solar grid on their property to power their farm operations. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the massive solar farms, 600 to 900 acres. To me, that's not ag-related. You know, if my neighborhood down the highway, Calderwoods, if they want to put up a solar grid to power their hog confinement buildings, fine. I have no problem with that. That's probably the way of the future. But I cannot see 600 to 900 acres of black solar panels surrounding my acreage. I mean, it would be a travesty. It really would. It would be a travesty for the families that live in that neighborhood. Property values would go down. Nobody would want to live there. And I get it. Farmers do have the right to do what they want to do with their property. I mean, we fought this fight 15 years ago with hog confinement buildings. So I'm pretty well versed with how this works. But this is a little bit different monster here that we're talking about. I mean, once those solar panels are there, they're going to be there for 25, 30, 35 years. Who in their right mind would want to live around something like that? I'll tell you, Terry Kuchera's not going to live by it. He's out in western Iowa. He's a happy camper.
Another question came up too, concern that, well, what if a city municipality would buy, for example, if they bought that land and they made it an industrial park, or whatever city does it, then what?
You would probably have the same fight with the people that live in that area. I mean, you say farmers have rights. Yes, they do have rights. But the neighbors around the farmers have rights too. And I just feel that being that I don't own a bunch of land, I just own an acreage, that I don't have any rights here. Well, I do, because I pay taxes. I just wrote a big whopping check to this county. So, yes, we do have a stake in this.
You understand the questions that come up though, like,
Oh, I do.
What if, you know, it's like, yeah, how does it affect the people?
I think the question needs to be asked, what is for the betterment of Tama County? To me, there's got to be a happy medium here. There's got to be size and scope put in this ordinance. And I know you guys don't like limitations, but there really has to be something to protect the people because, you know, today it's Terry Kuchera and his company coming in. Next week it could be somebody else. You know, you're a very wealthy farmer that lives down here that owns thousands and thousands of acres. What's preventing him from putting in, say, like a 2,000 solar farm? If the money was good, you know, is that what you want to see? I don't.
Dan? One of my concerns is any town that you pull into nowadays, at the edge of Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, they're expanding out with buildings. We have to keep so much of our farmland too to produce the food to feed everybody that's out there. And that is, to me, that's a concern.
I was down in Ankeny. I went to a funeral down there about a month ago, and the housing developments that are just gobbling up so much good ground down there. It's sad to see, but people have to have a place to live.
Right.
But those people pay taxes, and they pay regular residential taxes versus solar panels that are going to be on 900 acres that are still taxed as ag. So how does that benefit the county if you're going to still tax those as ag? But there's industrial use. If I move from out of the country to town, I pay city taxes.
That's right.
Now I pay rural taxes. So you have 950 acres that you're just still taxing as agricultural. It's not ag. It's industrial. And we're going to lose our shorts. And you'll have less kids that go to school because nobody wants to live around those 960 acres. Then we lose our school. When you lose your school, you lose your tax base. So we have to think of the better of all the citizens of Tama County. I get land rights, I understand, but there's still rules. I mean, there's watershed rules. There's still rules. And the rules are for the betterment of agriculture production.
It's my excuse me. It's my understanding the CSR on the ground that is signed up for that easement for solar is in the 90s up there.
That's correct.
That's
Lynn
good.
invited us to come up and her husband and if the meeting doesn't last too long and you're heading home, maybe we'll stop when we were up this morning and look. And, cause I don't know where you live. Yeah.
What'd you say?
They're calling home after the meeting.
Oh,
I say after the meeting, if you're going home and the meeting doesn't run too long, maybe Bill and I will drive up and
That'd be
look,
great.
look at the land. Cause you invited us
yes, I did.
2 or 3 weeks ago, we haven't
Yes.
been there, so.
So it's gonna be next day.
Yeah.
Be right around lunchtime too.
I'm not promising that, guys. Sorry. You move your heads out.
They could bring lunch. Just offering.
Sure. That's always a good thought. Richard, you always think about it.
TV dinners. Remember, I'm passionate this week.
Sorry, I gotta go grocery shopping, boys.
We got a TV.
We've had complaints too come into dispatch later in the evenings during field work. The fields around the city limits and stuff where people are complaining about the noise and everything.
Yep.
Wanting the farmers to stop, well, that's not gonna happen.
Well,
But there's people out there, there are places that have come up with ordinances but so far around the town and stuff like that. We sure don't wanna see stuff like that.
no,
It's just, one thing leads to another.
it does. It does.
Do we know like how the solar panels would affect like the environment as far as like ground and groundwater, animals?
Yeah, I don't know about groundwater. I wouldn't think it would, but I don't know.
I read a few articles where the land is not drained or planned well enough, and so the runoff from the solar panels gets pushed in different patterns to the neighboring lands, so that it causes more flooding issues with the neighbors. So it does affect neighbors in that way if it's not planned correctly with runoff of that. There's also risk of, I believe, leaching into the soil around it if there's any type of defect in the product that gets cracked by any weather or anything. And then you've also got the risk of battery storage failing, which could cause fires or other leaching of materials. I mean, those are more rare, but the runoff thing is probably a continual, anytime it rains type of issue.
They do touch on fire. How do they put them out?
They have to let them burn. The local fire departments don't have the proper equipment to be able to deal with that type of thing. And then also, I have heard instances of certain configurations setting off radiation nearby. I don't think it goes very far, but it would affect local wildlife and probably anybody living nearby. So that's the research I found.
Well, my grandson works for Robbie Hardware, and they put up small solar units. And I asked him before, I said, does it seem to affect the wildlife? He said, no, birds like to build nests under them, no robins and that sort of thing for protection. And he works on them all the time. Now that's a small system. You know, like you're talking about, Lynn, that somebody might have, it's, you know, just for their own personal use.
Well, anything industrial scope changes versus
Well,
personal
it's so
scope.
much bigger.
Whatever you're talking about, whether it's a hog barn or one personal wind turbine versus half the county, or one solar setup versus 600 acres. So anything industrial scale changes how it affects what's around it.
It changes it, but, you know, like, it doesn't, I asked him, I said, how hot do they get? He said, they don't get that hot. I had a comment about someone said it's like 900 degrees. Well, that's certainly not true. If it got that hot, you'd burn your house down. Because a lot of people put them on the roof of their house. You haven't had any trouble with your solar on your car wash, have you, Kendall?
No, they all have rapid shutdown modules on them. So anytime there's an issue with that panel, it drops it out. And then there's a disconnect on the ground. So you can throw that disconnect, if they're still generating power, the rapid shutdown modules drop them out. So the fire department can handle those.
We've had calls to numerous power lines that are causing fires, set fields on fire and everything else. You start looking up the stats, like just for what our little department has responded to. And, you look nationwide, and the stats on power lines causing fires are real high. Of course, there's a lot more of them, but it's a lot more common than any solar or wind. And anything can cause a problem somewhere along the line. I mean, you read about anything, nothing's good for you anymore. Not even bottled water, you know.
Nationwide, that's pretty much on the west coast, California.
I don't think you have to look. It's nationwide for, I mean, we respond to a lot of power fires where it's a transformer and stuff burning and, you know, it's setting fields on fire. Well, you got, you know, you protect what's around it. You don't shoot water on the electrical transformer. You know, you protect your seat. But there's a lot more of that than there is anything else when you start looking at things. Like I say, nothing's good for you. Everything's got a problem one way or the other.
I don't know that much about solar panels at all, and this particular project, though, like, these would be located back behind where we live, but Highway 8, but who's benefiting from this? The whole county?
No.
For the energy, or just the farms around there, or who?
No.
The person who owns the farm and then the power company that owns the development would be the ones benefiting.
Might I say also, we keep talking about this like this is gonna benefit Tama County. This power is going out. You know, Traer has a small solar panel farm just south, and that's benefiting Traer, so I have nothing against that, and there's quite a few in there. But all they're doing is using us. They're using Tama County, and they're shipping it out to the cities. So I think we have to look at that too. This isn't just gonna stay here and help us. Yeah, it'll benefit the guy that's getting the money, that's putting it in, but the power is all going out of here, and I don't think that's right. If Chicago wants some, let them put it on all their buildings. Why are we putting on great farmland here? If it's 90 CSR, that's some of the best in the county. What are we doing that for? So, you know, I think we have to look at that too. This is bigger than just, you know, some panels going up and we're going to get power. We're not going to get any power from that. So I think that's, you know, they're using us. I think they're just using us.
And your tax basis is not changing. You're getting the same tax dollars for the 960 acres of ag as you are when someone else is using us. I mean, we're not gaining anything here. I mean, our tax base is not quadrupling or whatever. You're still getting the same taxes that you are now as ag. So, you know, if you're going to tax it as, if you're going to bump this in your county, you better tax it as industrial.
So you're saying that power goes somewhere else, and where does our power come from? Better check back with the power companies and see just exactly how it works. Yeah, I don't think you did the right thing.
I'll bet Traeger's power goes back on the grid. Because otherwise it takes such a big battery bank to store that power, which you can't possibly afford the batteries.
I'm all about the research and everything, but it's gotta be, you know, backed up, and, you know, like I say, there's rumors out there and stuff. Just talk to the right people.
She said she talked to the Traer Municipal
Something's not right there,
Utilities.
but whatever. Go ahead.
Bob, who are your resources? Every week you have information, exactly,
I'm
and
not
you
giving
know,
you
I'm not
information.
done with my
I'm telling you to talk to the right people.
I'm not done with my question. Every week you give us information and you say to us, go talk to people. Exactly who, names.
You can talk to the power companies, talk to any power company you want, talk to
Did you not hear my question?
You didn't hear my answer. I'm not gonna quote anybody because then everybody goes out and misquotes things.
We use names every week. We use articles, we use newspaper.
Talk to your local power companies and get the facts. That's all you gotta do. Don't be mad at me, just go talk to the people.
I'm just asking you where.
No, I start getting yelled at because I just wanna see people get along. Get the right facts, then I don't need to talk to you anymore.
Phone numbers?
You've got it all online, Karen.
Okay.
You're always researching everything. Go ahead and call the right people. You call the power companies, call REC, call Mid-America, call Alliant. Talk to them. They'll get you to the right people.
Yes.
No problem.
I, as an individual landowner, appreciate being able to make my own decisions. However, I think Tama County consider, do we want this an agricultural county, or do we want it an industrial county? And it's not just my farm for the next however much longer I'm gonna be around, but I'm looking at my kids, my grandkids, and maybe it goes to somebody else. So the decisions that we make today are going to affect 100 years from now, 200 years from now. We have a great responsibility to be thinking about, what are we creating here?
You're right, you're right.
Two things. I know everybody says your land, you do what you want. I have land that's in CRP, I chose to put it in there, but I can't let it go. I have to have special grass seeds, I put it on there, I can't let trees just grow, I can't let it grow wild. So even though it's my land, I still can't do what I want to do with it. There's still guidelines, regulations. My other thing is, last week in the meeting, the Zoom thing got brought up. So during COVID, were all the meetings Zoom?
Yes.
So, were they all backed up on the server?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure. Karen?
No.
Backed up on the, no.
So then why was it told last week that we can't have it unless we back them up on the server?
Oh, Tammy, you probably
That
answer that better.
was just, we were just doing that at the time because we had to, but now we're talking about doing it permanently.
So what's the difference between you had to and permanently?
Well,
We're still doing
because,
it, right?
just because our attorney said we need to get, professional system put in, because of, open meeting laws and so that's why we can't. I recalled, after last week, I was talking to Kurt and I said, I couldn't remember everything, but I do recall that, the reason we didn't do anything at that time is because the system was, $10,000, to put in. And we were just, discussing that the attorney had told us that we need to have a professional system, because someone has to monitor that system.
So nothing was monitored during COVID?
No, we just had Zoom meetings at that time.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, it was
That was
wrong and
temporary.
not protected?
That was just a
and-
temporary
It was just a temporary
fix
thing, so
to,
we can still do.
yeah, we still had, meetings here unless we absolutely could not, and then we just did them by Zoom that day, but, yeah, and we were not prepared at that time either. So, after that is when the subject of recording came up, and, so our attorney told us that we needed to make sure we got a good system, and, we right now don't have anybody to monitor that, to do that, so, and I did speak with Rick, and he does not want to do that, because that is a, something that he doesn't do.
He doesn't want to? Isn't he an employee of the county and
No,
should not?
no, he is not. He's contracted for hours.
When you say somebody needs to monitor it, what are you
If somebody
thinking about
needs
there?
to know the system, to run the system, to start meetings, end meetings, somebody has to do that.
Isn't it just pushing record and pushing stop and then
I
uploading
would
it?
not know. I don't know.
I did provide Kurt with everything Marshall County's doing, the equipment, how they run it,
Right.
how much they pay a year, which is up $150 for Zoom, plus the YouTube. And I did provide him a list of the equipment that Marshall County uses and how they use it. So people from the outside are able to ask questions, they're able to interact with you during the meetings. So the IT director there was very kind and within 2 hours provided me all of the information for the equipment. So I'm sure Kurt will be able to share that with you when he gets feeling better.
Can you do a Zoom meeting starting now, like for next week, so that we can watch it from the hospital?
We're probably not going to be able to do that, Nancy. But you folks record it, so you ought to be able to get it.
Well, I have to find somebody who's got an iPhone that we can watch it on. That's my issue.
I see.
I just don't know how in 3 years we've gone backwards and not going forward. That's my question.
I couldn't hear you what you say.
I guess in 3 years, I don't see how we can go backwards and not keep moving forward. If we did it once, 3 years ago, I would think we'd be able to do it today.
Well, I don't, we're looking into the system, into a permit system, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to make it work or not, I don't know.
And my other thing too is that I saw on the door when I came in that there's a staff training meeting for the treasurer office. I just wanna say, I was in there a while ago and I was paying my car taxes, licenses, and nobody got up from the counter nobody came to the counter to help me. They all kind of looked down like they didn't see me. Finally someone yelled, "Do I need help?" Well, obviously I was there. I said I have my papers to license on my vehicles. They came and took them and really said, "Is that all?" And I said, "I think so, but could you please check just to make sure?" One of the vehicles was, you get like kind of a month to do them. One of the vehicles was a month early, and she's like, "Well, do you want that one in there?" I'm like, "Yes, please." And the person, which I was waiting for to come back up to the counter to give me a total, yelled it from their desk. Because that was very, very unprofessional, and nobody else there needs to know that I paid my car taxes and license.
If this guy here isn't a county employee, and he's a subcontractor to the county, and he doesn't wanna do it, why don't we look and get somebody else then?
He does IT for the county.
Yeah, well,
He's not asked to
you
do.
just said he don't wanna do this.
He doesn't wanna do
Why
it because
does that
that's not
mean?
his expertise.
Okay, he can find somebody else to do it then.
Teach him.
Yeah,
If the landfill can.
let him sub it out to somebody else.
It's not that simple.
Is there not somebody in this
building that can be
trained?
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, you're asking me things I don't know because we do
We
not
need to-
have.
it's not that difficult.
Our time's up, we need to go back to our regular meeting. Call the meeting to order.
Wow.
Do I have a
Yeah,
motion
here.
to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Who's that, the diamond dozen?
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Wyatt.
PCI is still scheduled to start April 3rd. It might be after that. There's a fiber optic line that's still attached to the bridge. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the bridge on Business 30 out here. Apologize. So they're still scheduled to start on that, but there's a fiber optic line that's attached to it that is taking forever for them to get relocated. They can't put the bridge on until that's off of it. The bridge on K Avenue, I wrote down that it's being worked on. Actually, what I mean is the road is being worked on. The road has been closed for a little while because of some dirt that's being lost. We've got that, the road is being worked on to try to get that reopened so that we can get traffic across it until the bridge is replaced, which is coming up this summer. Work on the shop is still slow. Shed B is underway. They made considerable progress on that last week. We're still doing hauling rock. We're intending to start hauling contract rock on Wednesday. I don't even know exactly where he's looking to start, but he's looking to start getting the contract hauls going on Wednesday. I've got quotes for, we've got in our budget for next year, which the budget has not been certified yet, but we've got budgeted to get remember, a new tractor and a new mower. And we've got a couple of quotes on that. And I've had the shop foreman working on getting that to try to get the right piece of equipment that we're looking for. It's a John Deere backling mower, it's a John Deere tractor from Van Moore. I've got the numbers listed there, $104,000 for the tractor, $22,000. This is in line with what I would expect. Barring any objections, I'll enter into an agreement so that we can get that going. For after July 1 we're talking about. This is not before July 1.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I have wrote down on my notes. There's also an item on the agenda for the DOT budget and the county 5-year construction program. This is necessary to be done by April 15th of each year. Technically, we don't have the budget yet, so however, this is the DOT's version of the budget. This is not the county budget that I'm asking, that I'm presenting to you guys. This is the DOT budget. It's the same budget.
Okay.
It is the same budget. If there's deviation, it can be amended relatively easily. So that's one of the items I have. It's the same budget that I presented to you with the change that there was a Senate File 181 this year that required a change of the valuations, and that reduced how much money we were looking to bring in through property taxes. That's the only change that is reflected in this Iowa DOT budget versus what I presented to you guys back in January. So that's item 1.
The other item is the county 5-year construction program. We've got a few copies of that. Same thing, it's something that's required to be done each year before April 15th. A number of things on it. One of the things I do want to point out is Highway E66. Old Highway 30 going from Belle Plaine up to, back up through Chelsea and up to Highway 30 again. I've got that listed in 2024. That isn't, whether that can happen or not is entirely dependent upon whether or not we can secure funds through Region 6. Region 6 has not allocated their funds. Region 6 is where the federal money flows through. All the federal highway program, all the federal highway bill money flows through Region 6 to us. So it still needs to be that we get that money awarded. However, we don't get to put it on, I'm putting it on the program for 2024 with the hope that that actually happens. If that money does not come through, it will have to be pushed back another year. No question. Okay. But I'm putting it on the program to reflect that possibility. And they are not going to meet until, I think next week is the meeting. So it's difficult to make all this happen without doing this in advance in anticipation, hope of it happening. Okay? So I'm presenting to the
motion for that.
Need a motion for the DOT budget. I suppose you can do a motion for the DOT budget and the county 5-year construction program together if you want.
Correct.
Yeah. I will make that motion.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carried.
And I'm gonna have,
And it includes a 2024-28 construction program too.
yes. And I have the bill sign that. And then I forgot there's also a utility permit. This is going from Garland out to, I think going out to the cell phone, the emergency management tower west of Garland.
Okay.
Windscreen.
So you need a motion to approve that?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't do motions.
This one?
Yep. So that would be one where you'd sign in Chairman. 320. Very good. Thank you. I don't have anything else to report to you. Do you guys have anything else for me?
Yeah, I have brought to my attention G Avenue north of E29 over here.
Okay.
I was told yesterday that it was great that we gravelled F and H Avenue, but when the trucks came back, they came back down
Sure.
G and they tore G up.
Sure.
So
Doesn't surprise me.
if you can get up there and look at that, or at him, whatever.
course.
Okay.
Yeah, they desperately need the blade southbound. G and H and 370th.
And
Getting pretty.
we are getting the blades out. It's gonna take a while to get around everything. It's happening. Anything else?
I know it's a state highway, but is 63 North gonna be resurfaced this spring or fall?
No, I've gotten a report from the DOT, let me see what I can remember. There's no work on 63 this year. Next year, south of town. South of Tama Toledo is when they're working. South of town is what their tentative schedule is. And that'll be for, they'll turn it into a Super 2, which means there'll be a couple of passing lanes. And that'll be work in Tama and Powashik counties on 63. I believe they're talking the following year for doing the work north of town up to 96 junctions. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lyle.
Yeah. Get through.
Damn it.
What? Just kidding. Nothing, I don't really have anything, just wanna make sure you knew I was still working on the stuff I did, about the system. And like I said, Rick, he's on contract for IT services, he is not on contract for any of this. That would be, since we're in a contract, we'd have to go back to them and ask them if they would, if we could contract for that additional service. But anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. I did look at the old system that we did look at. That's the $10,000 system. And then I had talked to Kurt. Kurt said he had some other ideas. And then when I talked to Kurt, I also said the attorney had advised us to get a better system. So anyway, that's where we're at. We haven't really moved. Kurt's not here. Laura's not here. So we can't really do anything right now.
Okay.
We'll just keep looking until we find something.
Okay.
I have a son-in-law that's the main IT guy for the Board of School Systems.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get him free next meeting, I will bring him along.
That's fine.
And see how big a job it is to convert this to online.
Okay.
I like to make a big deal out of it myself, but we'll find out.
Okay. Yes.
Did you have Zoom available clear through 19, 20, and 21? Has it only been down for 1 year?
I have no idea. We haven't had Zoom since I've been here.
Because that's when COVID technically ended, was at the end.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how many meetings we had. It just depended.
There wasn't many.
There wasn't many Zoom
like
meetings, because Larry did not like Zoom meetings at all. So he did not have a lot of Zoom meetings, but only because we had to, I think was the reason.
Was either do that or not do anything.
Yeah, so we opted for that.
Okay.
Oh, you got
Okay. Is that it? Okay. I have a motion to approve claims.
I will make that motion.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay, our next on the agenda is to set a public hearing date for Solar Energy Ordinance.
So, how about April 4th from 6 to 7:30 at the Reining Center?
Okay.
That's
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Correct. Yep, we'll get it published in the paper this Friday and then the following Friday, the 31st.
Isn't the auditor's office closed on April 4th? There was a sign
No,
on the
the
door.
treasurer's office, not us.
Okay.
Yes, I'll make that motion. We set a public hearing for the solar.
And it's in the
energy
evening.
Ordinance for 4/4/23, 6 to 7:30, is that?
Mhm.
Right,
Yep.
Okay, I'll second that. Got a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carried. Okay, and then we have a resignation of a zoning board member. Darren Thiessen has resigned. So do we need a motion to accept that?
Don't need to make a motion if you just want to acknowledge it here in the meeting that you received that resignation. His term was due to expire on June 30th of 2025. And we received the resignation on March 14th.
Okay, we'll recognize that. Okay.
Does anybody have anything else?
Will you be posting
That is it.
to take applications for that position too then? I know you were talking about reopening the opening from the last resignation. I didn't know if you're planning to post to accept more applications for this new resignation.
We haven't talked about it because he just resigned last week. I don't know what we're gonna do. I personally think we ought to just open it up.
Open it back up and
just, if anybody else is interested, and just whoever's sent their application in, just hold on to that, put it down with others. That's my opinion, but we haven't done anything, so. I don't know, what do you think, Bill?
that would be my opinion.
Yeah. That's probably what we'll do, but I'm not sure.
So you don't know if you will, if the applications that have already been turned in will be viable, or if they will be discarded?
They're good for a year.
They're good for a year.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, Karen.
Okay, I will adjourn you at 9:45.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Oh, where's this?